welcome to the stream. How are we doing? Hey there. It's bugging me. There we go. That's a bit better. Hello. Welcome to the stream. How are we doing? From the top again. Big ups. Today, mainly a City stream in terms of City news, but we're going to talk about, the main bit of news we're going to be talking about today is Echeverri and his situation at City. A lot of stuff came out over the last 24 hours about his kind of situation, so we're going to have a look into that and see what we believe, what we don't believe. Hello, Win Malfay. Welcome to the chat. Hello, Prediction Club Bruisers and Elect Playoff 1. Our back, Club Bruges, why not? Despite having a little soft spot for Anderlecht, because I know Company went and managed there a couple of years ago. But yeah, I'm going to go for Club Bruges 2-0. There you go. You heard it here first. But big ups to whoever's tuning in. We're going to have a look at the latest on City's news, and we've actually had a little bit more news coming out recently, so we can actually talk about Man City news this week. So let's hop on over to City Extra, shall we? Again, big ups to everyone that's tuning in. So the international break is officially over, FYI. City will return to action this weekend to face Bournemouth. So there you go. But anyway, let's hop on over to the main bit of news that is just frustrating, but there's every chance that it's not true as well. So here is where it came out. There is a newer tweet that's not recently, it's a similar time to this, to be honest. Negotiations are underway for Claudio Echeverri to be loaned out to Lazio in the upcoming summer, according to Corriere. Look, I don't really know the source. For all I know, they're a secret Fabrizio Romano. All for all I know, they're the most unreliable guys going. But according to what I'm reading, these guys are saying that Echeverri is going to be loaned out. Apparently, the midfielder was in Rome this week and was at a restaurant very close to Lazio's training centre. So that was the score. Now, this frustrated me. Who's your favourite player of Club Bruges? I'm not going to lie, I don't support them. I don't really know their players because of that, but I will say the player that I put in a video I did not too long ago. I don't know anything about him, but he also scored against City. Well, in a good sense, he scored an own goal. So I'm going to go Joel Ordonez. Let me know if that rings a bell. Let me know if I got that wrong. What is your favourite kit of Club Bruges? Thinking out Club Bruges questions. I don't know. When I think of Club Bruges, I don't see too much difference in my memory. I quite like the one I'm looking at right now. This one's quite nice. Depends what season it is. 2021, your 2020 to 2021 home shirt. That shirt looks quite nice. Mine home kit is favourite. Yeah, I quite like the 20 to 2021 home kit. Yeah, but look, the frustrating thing about this, let's assume it's true. Let's assume that these guys have got it right. Is I don't understand, and I feel bad for not just him, but almost Vital Hayes in this situation too. Echeverri had a brilliant tournament, a tournament that would catch the eye out of lots of clubs. He's clearly a good player, Claudio Echeverri. Okay, maybe there's a chance he hasn't got enough to play for City. Maybe there's a chance he hasn't got that, and that's very possible. There's an obvious possibility that he can't do it at this level. Obviously, I'm not blind to that. But at the same time, he hasn't had a chance. Right now, he hasn't had a chance to prove it. And he hasn't played even a second of football for Man City. Look, most time, all I see of him is him in training, smiling, and typically a part of winning teams in training. But do winning teams even mean anything at this rate? If the teams, I know it's training. This week FA Cup game prediction, back City 2-0. I'd be a liar that say I'm confident. But yeah, where was I? Sorry. Most times I see him, he's typically on winning teams, but they clearly don't mean anything if he can't even get in the squad. Literally, he's not even been on bench for City, which is the funny thing. Not even been on the bench. We signed him for 18.5 million. And now you might be wondering, 18.5 million is not that big of an investment, okay? It's not like we're losing much, okay? Why would we give a player a chance when he hasn't really, it's just like another Perone signing, for example. We only signed Alvarez for about 3 million more, less than 3 million. And if we have a look, Julian Alvarez joined the club at a very different time. Okay, he got pre-season, and, so he had all the preparation. In Julian Alvarez's first season, he had 2,500 minutes. 2,500 minutes. That's a decent amount of minutes. And in his second season, he had 3,400, even more. And so for a player with no Premier League experience joining Man City, okay, and Echeverri, a player with no Premier League experience, joining for a similar fee, where is the harm in him just getting a game? Especially in this season. It can't be much worse than what we've already got, is what I'm thinking. And look, it's not even just the Julian Alvarez thing. And Echeverri's not the only one really suffering from this. Vital Hayes, at least he's played a minute of football, but he's playing in the academy right now. It's not a good look for him and for us. 40 million on a player that's probably got more minutes for the academy by now than a player than as a first team player. Yes, big up Alf. We're talking about Echeverri right now, and just how puzzling it is, because look, it's a different kind of situation, but in a sense it's quite similar. Okay, Julian Alvarez, when he joined City for about 3 million more. Don't get me wrong, obviously he was very top talent when he joined City. Lots of clubs have their eye on him, but Echeverri was no pushover. When he joined City for the first time, of course he had a pre-season, so he had time to bed into the squad and all that. But he got 2,500 minutes. I'm not even asking for 100 minutes for Echeverri. I just want 90 minutes. That news gave me a mental breakdown before it was denied. Yeah, I'm going to speak about the newer post on it. But I really do just want to have a look into this, because he's yet to have an opportunity. And let's say we go out against Bournemouth, all right, in this weekend, thinking about the worst case scenario, we go out. If that happens, do we think Echeverri's getting a look in for the rest of the season? Because I can't see him playing in the Prem. I really can't. I don't know what it is in my head, but I can't see him getting a look in the Premier League. He didn't get a look in the Cup. And hasn't even gotten on the bench so far. And it just makes me kind of think of Julian Alvarez, a player that joined City with no experience, and he got a lot of minutes. It took him a while to get his first start. When he did, he played brilliant. But it just doesn't make tons of sense. They'll connect. Echeverri ain't even getting in the squad on Sunday. No way. Big up, by the way. How are you? I'm good, thank you. I'm just talking about how. Look, I know the Echeverri news has basically been denied now. Apparently, I know there's like a newer tweet on it, but I just find it quite interesting, because Julian Alvarez, he joined the club, a player that had no Premier League experience. Okay, he was still very young. We signed him I think he joined the club when he was about 22. So, still very young. I know Echeverri is 19, but Neither of them had a lot of Premier League experience. No Premier League experience. The only difference is that Alvarez had a pre-season. Okay, and obviously played games there and trained with the squad a lot more. But Echeverri, most of the times I see him, he's on the winning team in training. You always see him smiling with the rest of the lads. Does winning team mean anything if you can't even make the bench? I wouldn't even be as mad if he was featured on the bench, being treated like he's at least a player. But you might as well lump him in the academy at this rate. Definitely a lot of truth in the news. I know that guy denied it, but there's definitely truth in multiple sources saying it. He's even spotted there. I know. So I'm not completely writing it off. I'm taking the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say that guy's right, just to ease my mind, because I can't get by it. I really can't. I can't get by how this guy can't even make bench for City at the moment. I don't. It don't work in my head. How's Bernardo doing? But oh wait, yeah, Bernardo's okay, isn't he? He's been in the Portuguese squad, so he's good. It doesn't make sense in my mind. And when you compare it to Julian Alvarez, the situations, although they are a bit different, and you can understand why Alvarez did get more minutes, you can't understand why Echeverri can't even get one. Pep definitely wasn't lying about his old players having a future here. Look, I don't doubt that we're going to see some of the older ones here. I do think some of them are going. I think that is inevitable. But I don't doubt Bernardo Silva's going to be here next season. I'll just throw that out there. If we think Pep would part ways with Bernardo, we need to get ourselves checked out. Oh, willingly anyway. If I don't see Oscar Bob on Sunday, I don't think he exists anymore. I'm hoping he must have been playing. He must have been doing a lot of training. He's been in first team training again for what we're saying, almost a month, maybe a month now. He's at least had one game for the EDS. I'm not too sure how many games he's had, but I know he's at least had one. Can he not play more? I just want to see these guys in the squad. Just in the squad would do me. Don't get me wrong, Oscar Bob has come back from a big injury. Okay? So, look, maybe just being on the bench will have to do for Oscar Bob. We just ain't going to see this guy, though, are we, man? This guy got a picture of the flag and all, by the way. It's not like a McFarlane situation who, took the picture whilst he's still in America. This guy got a picture of the flag, he got an interview, he's had a first day at Man City video, he's had the lot. And we've not seen him and the only time we've seen him on the Etihad pitch was in his announcement video. That's the closest he's come to playing football with City. You might as well lump him in the academy with Vital Hayes. How come players like Savinho wasn't signed for an awful lot more? Savinho, don't get me wrong, I love him. I'm glad that he's in this squad. But how come Savinho, who didn't have any Premier League experience, don't get me wrong, he obviously had a bit more experience foreign and elsewhere, he had a brilliant season with Girona, but we only signed him for about 7 million more. So how come Savinho gets the volume of minutes he's had, and he's had a lot of minutes, he's had 2,400, that's almost as much as Julian Alvarez in his first season, and Savinho's been 19, Savinho's been 20, turning 21, gets the amount of minutes he does, but Echeverri, who I know he didn't have a pre-season, but Echeverri can't even get on bench. It's such a big gap, and it don't make sense in my head. I can't line it up. I wanna make an excuse for the club. I want to say that the club's right on this. I want to say Pep's right on this. But I don't know if you don't trust Nico Riley, yeah. Nico Riley's always on our bench, but he's the biggest bench warmer we've got. Sadly for him, it's not a diss on him. I want to see Nico Riley in the squad more, or getting more minutes. If Nico Riley's not getting any minutes for you, number one, why is he on the bench? Okay, and number two, why? And if he's not impressing you, what is Echeverri doing that's even worse? It's just so frustrating, Khusanov, he's been getting a ton of chances, but I get into Khusanov now. Khusanov is kind of fortunate in a sense, okay? And I'm glad that he's fortunate, okay? I'm not dissing him here. Khusanov is fortunate that we've had such a defensive crisis, and so he's kind of had to play. But because he's played, because he got given a chance to prove himself, we've seen that he's a top player. I believe you said it, this is City. But if Lamine Yamal was a Man City academy player, he wouldn't have. He probably wouldn't even have had a debut yet. Mostly would have had his cup minutes, wouldn't it be? You know, why can't we just give players a chance? You know, especially this season. Of all seasons, don't get me wrong. In seasons where we've been a star throughout the entirety of the season, all right. Sure, you might not want to change that because it's going so well. But this season, 1 win in 14. I know Echeverri wasn't there for that, but like I'm talking other players at this point. You know, it's a whole situation, the minutes at City and certain players not getting a chance. You know, some players, you know, look at how many products Barcelona produce, you know. But again, one of them are playing for us now in our first team, Nico Gonzalez. The amount of the players they produce, and they always tend to get decent profit on them if they do sell them. Okay, they tend to get a little bit of profit going, and if they don't get profit, they tend to light your eyes up. You know, Yamal looking like a world beater at the moment, at the age of 17. Kubasi, I only hear good things about him. Gavi was just in that midfield chilling. You know, and there's probably more. I know Ansu Fati has fallen off a cliff in terms of injuries and all that, which hasn't helped him, and just hasn't been able to get in that squad anymore, and he's probably going to leave in the summer. But also Ansu Fati, you know, when he did come, he looked like a star, you know, but obviously his potential got stifled due to injuries and all that. But because they gave them a chance, because Barcelona gave them an opportunity, they got assets on their side. We just did that a little bit more. I'm not asking to give every single player an opportunity, but just give some of them an opportunity. Give them a little go from time to time. You know, Nico Riley looks a good player. Give him a bit more. Give him a bit more. Why not? Echeverri probably playing the ball forward and Pep. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get the policy of this club. Is it how much we sign them for? Is it their lack of experience? I don't know. I would love to see why Alvarez got tons of minutes and Echeverri didn't. Why Savinho is getting a ton of minutes and Echeverri can't get one. You know, Khusanov I understand, but look, do we think Khusanov would have played if it wasn't for injuries? At least put Cardio in the squad, man. At least give him the feeling of the squad. I know, just put him in the match day. And if he doesn't play, oh well. You know, for all we know, the game went well and we didn't need him. But at least he was there. I haven't seen that guy on our bench yet. I've only seen him in pictures and an announcement video. I haven't seen him elsewhere at all. I just want to see him on that bench. And if he gets some minutes, I will clap. I'll clap if he gets minutes. I'll dance if he's in the starting 11. I just want to see the guy. Because I see so many clips of him. I see so many people speak highly of him. And I see nothing from him. I see nothing from the club that shows that we're backing him. What I need is a must-play versus Leicester. Leicester literally hopeless of giving up and don't even bother to attack, play him. It's like, why not, man? A part of me, a small part of me, okay, I say a small part because obviously I don't want this in general, but a part of me almost wishes that, similar to how Khusanov has gotten minutes because of a lot of injuries and it turns out he's actually a top player, a part of me wants a similar situation like that to happen so that other minute players can get minutes, you know. Of course I don't want that at the same time. I'll make you dance on the Blue Friday show if he starts. I will. I'm pretty sure he start when we play Bournemouth, okay, on Sunday. If he starts, I will dance on here and I will dance on the next Blue Friday show I'm in. My word. But he's got to start. He's got to start, man. You know, I'll actively clap if he's in the squad. But anyway, I've had a mini rant on Echeverri, but can you blame me? Let's have a look elsewhere now. This is the extra share tab. So, hey, that's quite fresh. De Bruyne still believed to be open to extending his City contract. We got to start cracking on with that. I believe we knew about Sergio Aguero around this time, whether he'd be staying or not. If we're going to keep him, I don't want it to be an Ilkay situation where we offer him a contract like after our final game. Now then, this has been denied, okay, by this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but he's saying that this isn't correct and that he's going to do a preseason. And look, great stuff, but I don't know the reliability of either of these sources, to be honest. No way he starts, never ever. If he plays and if he's rubbish, fine, but at least we know. Exactly. We're in April now, and I'm seeing as linked too. And the names I'm seeing as linked to are horrendous. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to ignore them, to be honest. I just want to hear it from Fabrizio, man, and then I'll decide to cry or not. Everton, City have a interest in Jared Bramthwaite, who's open to leaving Everton after being told he's got a lack of experience in Europe. I mean, I'm sure this guy's solid, but can I just check something? I might be wrong on this, but I just need to know for myself. He turns 23 this year, so he's still young. You see, my issue with Jared Bramthwaite is that he's clearly got he's clearly not the most injury-free player you've ever had. And look what happened and look at the last centre-back we signed from Everton, who was a hot talent. And don't get me wrong, he's done well for us, John Stones. But I don't know, should we be learning from the John Stones thing? Great player, I know, but injuries. Just not the best, this season included. 21 games out, reoccurring injury in the groin, it seems. Even after surgery as well. Maybe he got rushed back, but I don't know. Nowadays, I'm an ITK man, thanks to the city. Yeah, I don't know what I think to Jared Bramthwaite. No doubt he's a good player, but I just want to try and avoid that kind of stuff. Well, the injury list. Tyler Dibbling. Hey, Big Steve said we should sign this guy in January, so it's kind of nice to see names that have been recommended to us, but then we actually get to see them. So, hey, I don't know who Chris Wheeler is, don't know how good he is, but if there's anything, I know this guy's a winger, and I know he's been doing pretty good for Southampton despite being 20th in the league. I guess something to have eyes on. Connect search up Torino goalkeeper. He looks 50, and we've never heard of him. That's our number one. 100 million from a player from the worst Prem team of all time. No way they're going to try and flog Tyler Dibbling for 100 mil. No one's paying that. Okay, Torino goalkeeper. Oh, wait there. Which one? I've got 6 names here. Is it Donnarumma? Oh no, Vanya Milinkovic-Savic. What, this guy? How old is he? 28? Are we thinking long term with this guy? Are we serious? Don't wrong, maybe number 2, but number 1? Ain't so sure. I'd be angry to pay 20. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I doubt he's a solid player, but like 100 for a guy that's going to be in Championship. We paid 40 million for Ake, who got relegated to Bournemouth, and that felt a bit steep. Very interesting move. Well, we better not be paying 100 mil. Alright, well, that was that. Morgan Rogers. I quite liked this in Morgan Rogers. He just wasn't good enough. Well, I've read little bits of it, saying he wasn't good enough, and it wasn't because the club didn't give him enough backing. Just opened up and said that he wasn't good enough at the time. Not ready. Wasn't ready. So I quite rate that from Morgan Rogers. He could have said like the club didn't back him, and if he actually got a chance, then maybe he would have cooked. But yeah, I guess I like the honesty. 125 winners fee. 125 million winners fee, by the way, if you win the Club World Cup. Bit more incentive to buy it. But look, we're getting 40 million for participating. That's a player right there. That is at least half a player right there. Depending on who you're going for. And if we win, each game we win, we get a bit more. Thoughts on this? Kasper Schmeichel and number 3 if Carson leaves. Interesting. That's an interesting pick. He's playing for Celtic right now, right? Well, I mean, if he wants to leave, I thought Kasper Schmeichel was pretty good at Leicester. They got relegated without him. Oh my lord. I've just seen the 100 mil. Thinking heck. Maybe if Southampton are paying the 100 mil for us to take him. Not a chance otherwise. Keep him. He's not that good. Yeah, but this is wild. 40 million just for participating. Crazy. I'll participate. Joao Cancelo. Weird differences, not a clash. Different opinions. Have very strong personality. So does he. But he's in charge. We each of us took our own pass. I thank for working for him. I found important in this group. He made me grow as a person and a player. He's a genius. A world leader in coaching. Best moments of my career were at City. I went to training and matches, enjoying myself, but I didn't want to stay at City. They didn't want me to stay. Alright. At least it's slagging us off. Still out well. Alright. Yeah. Great stream so far. The break is officially over. Yes, I read that. The break is officially over. Are City back? Is it more of the same? Or are we back in December, November season? I hope it's not the latter. I want it to be the earlier. Oh, yes. Tally living is worth 500 mil. It's April now. We still don't know what's going to happen with stuff. I want movement soon. Yeah, I want to hear De Bruyne. I love Kevin De Bruyne, and I'm open for either way. Okay, for me, it just depends on what's going on. I don't really care what we pay De Bruyne, to be honest. I know the club do, but it just depends on where we stand with KDB. I don't mind him staying, but his role's got to be clear. He can't be like the starting week in, week out player. Just can't. In terms of news, that's the most recent stuff after the Echeverri stuff. Morgan Rogers. Walker signed a new 6-figure deal. Congrats to Vital Hayes for his engagement. Big ups to him. And Phil Foden got an assist the other night for England vs Latvia. Did he actually play good off the bench? How was it? I didn't watch the game. Must have done okay if he got an assist, I suppose. By the way, I know about this. I feel bad for him, but I think he knows that he's deserved to be criticised, is what I'll say, Phil. I don't think he can complete this season, and think that he's not going to get criticised. He obviously is. But right now, I think it's probably about backing him. He's going to get stick when he plays well, not well even. So we just got to back him every time he goes out. Every time Phil Foden plays, I want him to have a good game. And look, in the summer, hopefully he can work on himself, try and remove some of these issues. But he's got to help himself. Foden got off the bench, and the amount of runs he made wasn't past. Wasn't past two was unreal. Can't lie. Oh wait, sorry. Good off the bench, and the amount of runs he made and wasn't past two was unreal. I can't lie. Oh well, hopefully England can pick him out a bit more then, I suppose. Who do you want to see on Sunday? Like on starting 11? Well, I want to see Echeverri. I would love to see Oscar Bob at least on the bench. You know, I don't think he's going to start, but on the bench would be awesome. I want to see Nico Riley. I wouldn't mind seeing McAtee, but I don't know, am I throwing in too many youngsters now? I want to see Vital Hayes. I want to see Vardio because I know he's gotten an injury, but I want to see him just to know he's okay. Oh gosh, if he's actually like proper injured, we could be cooked. We could absolutely be cooked. But you know what? I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Big up to everyone who's tuned in. It's been quite a fun one. I've enjoyed this. So, yeah, thank you to everyone who's tuned in. You know, Alf, This is City, Wim Malfay, and Glimpse, and anyone else along the way. Big up to you all. Probably back tomorrow. Looking to upload a video either tonight or tomorrow. But you are getting a video off me very soon. So, yeah, most of the work is done. Just a little bit left. So, thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all in the next one.